Rabbi Hamrell.
That's correct.
Yes, I know it's correct. I don't know if you remember me.
Of course I do, from University Synagogue, Herman.
How are you?
Baruch Hashem, thank God I'm doing well.
How's Chuck and the family?
Thank God everybody is doing well.
Wonderful.
We have 9 grandchildren. So I'll introduce
How
myself.
many?
9. Well, you haven't seen me for a while, and my kids were productive.
It's been a long time, Rabbi. It's been a long time.
Remember you from Temple Akiba.
That's correct. I was, I
I'm a
was the
member
school
of Temple
principal
Akiva.
there. I was
Yes,
the school principal there many years ago. Thank you for
yes.
remembering me.
I'm Mara, and I remember working on the newsletter for the synagogue with you.
That's correct. Yeah. Well,
Sitting
so
at a metal desk that you gave me.
okay, so now that we introduced a little bit, so welcome everyone. This is my first time with you, and I'm looking forward to that. Um, I'm Rabbi Miriam Hamrell. I was born and raised in Israel and served in the army for 2 years, and then came here with my parents.
Hi, what's going on?
Who's talking? Okay.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of a toast.
If you'd be so kind to
Oh,
Cindy, good to see you. Um, if you can block out your microphones, that'll be wonderful. Okay, good. So I came to the United States and met a while later, met my husband to be, and we've been married, thank God, 55 years. And we used to live in Brentwood, and now we're living in the Marina. And that's about it, what I can tell you. I have 9 blessed grandchildren, and and uh, life is good, thank God. Life is good, is worth living. And always try to be productive, and always try to look at every day as a gift, and what I need to do with it. If a day was given to me as a gift, what can I do with it to make the world a little better place? So God is not disappointed in me that gave me a day and I did nothing. So productive life is worth living. And of course, this Torah portion talks about that. So we'll elaborate a little bit more. And basically that is about me. If you have any questions, you may ask. I love dialogues and the corresponding relationships in the conversation. And so that's it. Any questions so far? Okay. So let's do the blessing for learning Torah. And what I'd like to do, I'd like to give you an introduction. Excuse me. I'd like to give you an introduction to this blessing. 1 second. So I think God is a continually flowing fountain of blessings and holy teachings. As a person with free will, I can choose to align myself with God's wisdom or try to hide from the profound teachings that could guide me daily. When I say a blessing with sincerity and study words of Torah, I'm choosing once again to align myself with the ever-flowing goodness of God's love. And that's how I see studying Torah. So together, Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Kiddushanu במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי
Divrei Torah.
תורה. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with your mitzvah of commands to engage in the study of Torah, to engage. Yeah, and that's what we are doing. My classes are always needs to be engaging because I love hearing you. It came up. Okay. I switched languages. Okay. So the Torah begins, and I study with the Mikraot Gdolot, where I have all the interpreters from Rashi to Ibn Ezra, Hachamim, Balaturim, Sforno, Maimonides, Rachmanides, and so on. So they're talking about Re'eh. See what I'm giving you. See what I'm doing for you. And the blessings are immense, right? It's very clear. So would somebody like to read the first verse in Re'eh, please, in English?
What is chapter and verse, Rabbi?
Chapter 11, verse 26. Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 26. See this day.
See, this day I set before you blessing and curse. Blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I enjoin upon you this day. And curse if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn away from the path that I enjoin upon you this day, and follow other gods whom you have not experienced.
Perfect. Okay. So it's very clear. It's black and white. It's do this and you'll have a good life. Do that, you'll have a miserable life, right? Very clear. Now, the question that comes up, of course, with our interpreters is, what's going on? Is the world black and white? Can we have something in the middle? You understand the question? Yes, Howard?
I would, even before coming to the question of whether it's black and white, just the basic statement, it just seems so in contradiction with our common knowledge of everyone has that bad people succeed, make very, very successful in life, and get all kinds of riches. People who are I knew a guy who was the most saintly person, and 25 years ago, he got cancer, blood cancer, and died within less than a year. So it doesn't make any sense. So it doesn't seem to jibe with reality.
You are correct. And of course, the famous book of Bad Things Happen to Good People, right?
Yeah.
So we know that we're all going from the time we are born, we're all going in the same direction. Whether it's sooner or later, we're all going the same direction. But you're bringing up something that I've been struggling with for a while, and for quite a while. What happens with children? You know, if adults get sick and die, I understand that. And we all, whether we are good people or bad people, we are all going in the same way. But what happens with children? You know, with babies who are born with ailments, and so that is tragic, right? So and of course all the the literature, post-Holocaust literature that was shared with many of us, it's very difficult because there is no straight answer to that. You are correct, Howard. What it says usually, particularly with kids, is that it comes to teach us, the people around the baby, a lesson. It comes to make us, the people around the baby, more compassionate, more loving, more understanding, more patient, and so on. Do I buy it? I need to, because then there is no hope. You understand what I'm saying? It's difficult. There is no good answer, honey. Hi, Fern. There is no good answer to this, and that's very hard. Because again, we are in a world that would love to have answers instantly, right? We don't know something, we go to the phone, ask a question, and we have the answer. It's not always that way, particularly when it comes to people we love and we see them suffer. So that's my answer, Howard. It's not the perfect answer, but I'd like to go back and into I'd like to go back to the book. And the bigger question that I have for you, if God is giving good, is it possible that God is giving curses also? Anyone? Is it possible that God is also giving us curses, not only blessings?
I would say he's giving us curses in a way that elicits the ability to learn from a mistake or a past experience.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rebecca. Anyone else?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say it depends on your definition of God, of how you conceive of God. And if you conceive of God as a more personalized, giving you this or giving you that versus a general creator or source of energy, if you view it in the more traditional way of either omnipotent or as more personal, then it makes no sense at all. But if you simply, the world is there and we act as we act. Some things are good and some are bad, and don't take it literally that God gives us curses. The world has, you see it more metaphorically.
Okay. Thank you, Fern. Very interesting. Because I thought you would say, instead of saying what do we understand with God, I thought you would say, what do we understand as a curse?
Well, maybe I'm on the autistic spectrum, and I had a lot of challenges. I became the caregiver of my family because I had compassion and everything. Because when my sister got brain injury, I just rolled up my sleeves and took care of her the best I can. When my mother was in hospice, I moved in with my father, because my father was declining with Alzheimer's. And when he had Alzheimer's, I said I'm going to stay with him until he couldn't take care of himself. It was heartbreaking to put him in the rehab, but I did it, and I tried my best to take care of him, no matter what my disability was. So I have a little compassion about the people who have compassion. Also, incidentally, I was reading biographies of Ozzy Osbourne. He was a misfit, in society. He became the big rock star, and through his lyrics and in the songs, he talked about the human condition. Mama, I want to go home. Wish I want to go to heaven and visit my mother and father.
Thank you, Eric. Wow, that was touching. Thank you. Yeah. So I cannot hear you, Mara. Yeah.
I think that the curse makes us more aware of all of our blessings, but it doesn't help us answer why the curse.
Yeah. So how would you define a curse? We all know what a blessing is. No, I'd like actually to define both. So what is a blessing first? What would you consider a blessing to you?
Good things.
For example,
Health.
health, right? Health is a tremendous blessing. What else? What would you consider a blessing in your life?
Close relations.
Close relations. Excellent. Right? So what would you consider as a curse? Now that we defined somewhat what a blessing is. Now, mind you, when I teach, young adults, the definitions are very different, right? Because the focus is very different. So what would you consider a curse in your life?
The loss of all the things you consider blessings.
That's right. Right? So, and the challenges, of course, that come along with it that Howard brought up. So, when we think about God as a person, not a person, but it's an entity that gives us blessings, it's hard for us to imagine that God will also give us curses. So I like to change the word curse into a challenge. Gives us challenges, right? We know from the book of Job, the many challenges that he has gone through in his life. And we know the statement that is so hard for me to tolerate, that God does not give you more than what you can handle. All right. It's hard for me to accept that. Herman?
Using myself as an example, Rabbi, I have made many, many mistakes in my life. We all have, but I know this. I've made mistakes which have led to certain things in later life. But I don't blame God for that. I never have. I have free will. I make the choice. I absolutely cannot blame God for the mistakes that I made. Yet I do thank God for the good things.
Excellent. That's a positive attitude towards life, right? Because when we turn the finger towards ourselves rather than out, right, then we are liable to find what is really challenging me. What am I behaving the way I do? And of course, Yamim Noaim, the days of awe are coming up, and we will be doing a lot of this finger towards ourselves, because those are important questions to ourselves. And going blaming other people, I see, Fern, your hand, just 1 second. Going to blaming other people for the wrongdoings that I'm doing, or blame God for it. Why didn't you help me? Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you warn me? And so on. It's a waste of time. You are correct, Herman. Fern?
Well, it's kind of facile though, because there's a lot of things that I would call curses that are not simply because of our behavior, with probably for all of the number one being anti-Semitism, being the Holocaust, being disease we did not bring upon ourselves. I mean, there are many things that I would call, could be classified as curses that what we have to, there are things, I would agree with Mara, there are things one can learn from all of it, but why have it in the first place? You know, I often think about people say we have pain, we have pain so that we'll know something is wrong. But, you know, if God created the world, we could have had a bell instead of pain to tell us.
That's correct. I agree with you. Yeah, very good. So I'd like you to think about something. So if I say to you, God does not give us curses, only the options and the capacity to transmute his blessings. And Herman touched on it. We have choices, right? So we transmute his blessings. In other words, what we might consider as curses are really spiritual displacement. Spiritual displacement. Because because of free choice, when we have the capacity to transmute God's blessings, what are we doing to ourselves? We're changing God's blessings, right? I'm giving you blessings and curses. And I want you to choose blessings. He tells us, I want you to choose the blessings. And then there is a big ceremony, right? At the mountains. And which are about 20 miles north of Jerusalem, Nablus. It's in the valley, and the two mountains are, Nablus is in the valley, and it's in the two sides, the mountains. And one mountain is bare, and the other mountain is lush. Really. So we always come to say, well, the lush obviously is the blessing, and the mountain that's bare and rocky is the mountain with curses. But think about this. Can we transmute God's blessings? God is giving us blessings. And with our behavior, with our thinking, with our lashon hara, the evil tongue of gossip, we change God's blessings into curses. In other words, what Herman said before, I don't blame God. I blame myself for the wrong choices I made. What do you think about that? I hear sounds, but I don't hear the person. Who's talking?
Yeah, hello?
Yes.
It's interesting, David Caden.
Thank you.
It's interesting when good things happen to us, as people described, we don't say or think typically, what did we do to deserve this? Whether it's a birth of a child, a grandchild, a cure from a disease or something, earning something, et cetera. Typically, we don't do that. But then with the curses or bad things that have happened to us, an illness, loss of job, et cetera, we try to find out, why did that happen to us? So we're looking at things in different ways. And I think going back to the free will mention, of course, that God put us on this planet, created this universe, and left us to our own devices to do things, to not do things, to et cetera. And I think the ideas of, if we do good things and do the mitzvah, et cetera, then we will be blessed, get blessings from God, and the reverse will also be true. I think that helps us to try to deal with being on this world and things that happen to us. Not necessarily that we earn things and when we thank God for it, but it's just having to deal with it. Because as you mentioned, with the issue of a child, disease, death, etc., there's no way to explain that, but things just happen. just is being a living being on this earth, and we do try to find reasons for that.
Very good. Thank you, David, for this comment. Brad, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Rabbi, I come back to the very first word here in the passage you read, see. And, we're told that blessings and curses are things that can be seen. And, that's a powerful image. And I wonder if, I mentioned this yesterday in Torah study. I wondered if see in this context is more imagine. And that gets to your question about how did you put it? Transforming, it's all a question of our minds, how we see things, in our own minds can change something from a blessing into a curse. The operation of the mind.
It can be that too. It can be that too. It's very interesting because later on in the verse, it says, listen, tishmeo, listen. So it says, listen to the blessings, right? In verse 27, it says, so in verse 26, it says, look, right? Re'eh, look, I give before you. And it's very interesting that you brought it up because, Brad, because re'eh is in a singular form in Hebrew. It's not in plural, but the rest of the verse is in plural. You see? So when it says look, yes, it can be in our imagination or really to look at, to see the blessing, to visualize the blessings. And, psychologists today say, if you visualize your dream, it will come true. So, or in other words, you'll be working towards it and it will come true. So re'eh comes in a singular form. So obviously, you understand, we all understand that he talks to each one of us. That's why it's in the singular form. Each one of us, look carefully. Look carefully what I'm giving you when it says the you word, anochi, uses the word anochi, which means I am the one who is giving you. It's not from a prophet, it's not from a messenger, it's not from an angel. I am God giving you, each one of you, a blessing and a curse today. But when it says you, it comes back to plural. Very interesting. Thank you for that comment, Brad. Harv or Mara? I see your hand up.
I was wondering if you might talk a little bit about how prayer fits in to all of this.
Fantastic question. So here is my statement. Listen. When I pray, I speak to God. When I study Torah, God speaks to me. So prayer is something very, very important in my life. I'm sure it's in your life too. Prayer is something that we hear, we engage, we feel, and at holy moments, you are transformed. Now, here, I can say that prayer comes into account when we say on verse 27, verse 27, the blessing you will hear. You will hear your blessings, which is very interesting. So the commentators say that the pure blessing is when we hear the chanting of the Torah, when we hear the reading of the Torah, that's when we are really feel.
Rabbi, you are freezing.
Feel the blessings of God upon us. I'm frozen.
Rabbi, your face is frozen.
You may have to log off and come again.
I'll obviously keep the meeting open if the rabbi needs to leave and come back.
I think that's the only way she can.
Does anybody have her email to send her that message?
The Welsh Boulevard assistant is here.
Yeah, I will do my best to contact her. Otherwise,
Well, I think she's, I don't see her.
yep.
Well, that's good.
Looks like she's not coming back.
Does anyone from webinar events know that she was frozen and isn't on
Yes,
anymore?
and I'm reaching out.
Okay, thank you.
While we're waiting, I don't know if anybody knows her, but she's a very special person,
Oh, yes, she is. You're absolutely right.
worth waiting for.
Tell us more about her.
She runs a congregation. She was a congregant of University Synagogue for years and years. Her kids went to school with preschool with my children and religious school. She became a rabbi. She runs a congregation that doesn't have a building, but meets in a church, I think. And she's just always been an extraordinarily deep, compassionate, sweet, and smart lady.
I have never heard a bad word from her about anybody.
Never. And she's hugely comforting and bright and really extraordinary.
So there must be a problem with her internet, and hopefully she will.
Rabbi Nanis just called and is in touch with her, and I said, please tell her to jump back into the Zoom. Everybody is looking forward to her return.
Thank you.
So we'll have her every third week now, huh?
That'd be nice.
That'll be fantastic. If I'm not mistaken, Fern, she became a conservative rabbi.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd call it conservative or non-denominational. I'm not sure. She's married to a physician, a gynecologist who's been long serving in the community. She has kids and family and so on. Obviously from Israel.
I haven't seen her in about 25 years.
She looks about the same.
I used to run into her husband in Ralph's quite often.
It is kind of interesting to rotate rabbis a little bit and get different orientations to how one responds, how one studies Torah.
Yesterday at Shabbat, Rabbi Fox was honored. They gave her a blessing for she's leaving.
Well, I was thinking the thing we're struggling with is that you really can't replace Rabbi David's, but maybe, yeah, maybe he could be replaced by a team of 3 or 4 people from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
How would I agree? I don't think anybody can ever replace Rabbi David.
Yeah.
It was an extraordinary experience, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Studying with him and knowing him as a friend was an extraordinary experience.
He's the same age as I am, and he comes from the same, he was born in the same place, Cleveland, and grew up, so I was an affinity there.
I was at services a couple of weeks ago at the Irma's campus, and I saw his wife. She looked beautiful.
She did.
Completely recovered.
Look good. She's strong.
Yeah. Ah.
Temple Akiva goes to the beach twice a year for services, and Herman doesn't do beach. So I go to the Irma's campus twice a year.
There she is. Oh, it's not working well.
Where? Oh, yeah.
Frozen.
Welcome back, Rabbi.
No. It's frozen.
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe while we're waiting, I would make a comment just to all of you, just my own. I'm particularly struck with what she said, or maybe one of you also she was echoing you, saying that you just kind of have to choose what you're focusing on, choosing if you're, whether to focus on the blessings or the curses. I think, Herman, you were really saying that you could, and she was saying, if you don't choose that, there's no hope. So it's a choice, not necessarily being blind, but just saying, do I want to feed this piece of me or feed that piece? I tend instinctively to be skeptical and cynical just by nature and profession, probably. And living in that personally, it's not necessarily the best thing for me or anybody else. And so I kind of, when I pray just to be less cynical, because it's a better place to live.
Her video is working now.
Yep. Mimi, we can see you.
He's moving around now.
Yeah.
I don't think she hears us.
No, and the webinar, our
Can
webinar
you hear me
master is
now?
muted. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good.
First time we
Okay.
see a gentleman in webinar events. Hi.
That's me. How are you?
Okay. I went to another room. Okay. Oh,
Everything is fine.
Welcome
threw
back.
me, threw me off a little bit. All right.
That was the
Thank
curse
you for
and the
helping.
blessing for getting you back.
All right. So where are we? So we are still on the first verse.
Yes.
Re'eh, see, in a singular form. I'm giving you today, you plural, the blessing and the curses. And the blessing is that you will hear, the blessings that you will hear, right? And we all know the word to hear, shema. And the tishme'u, you in the plural form, you will hear the blessings and you will see the blessings, right? Because those are the ones that I command you today. And obviously, Brad, I see your hand. Obviously, when we are in the space of a blessing, then we are doing the mitzvot. As who was it who said before that the mitzvot are there to guide us and to keep us on the path of godliness, the path of doing the right thing at the right time, which means that we all have to learn continuously what is expected from us. What, in order for us to be on the path of blessings, what is expected from us? Because we know that the 613 mitzvot are not all mitzvot that we can accomplish today. Okay, so with that statement, Brad, go ahead, honey.
Yeah.
I cannot hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
We
We
can
can
hear
hear you, Brad.
You can hear Brad and I cannot?
apparently.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Try
Let
again.
me, can you hear me now? Can you hear?
I'm so sorry about this.
I can hear you, Brad, so I guess everybody else can.
Could you write it in the chat?
Well, no.
No, I'm
Why
sorry.
don't you try
Oh
somebody?
my
Can
God.
you
We
hear her?
hear,
I
we
would not
hear
be able to
Brad.
hear any of you.
We can hear you, Brad. All of us can hear
We
you.
all hear
Oh.
Brad.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
I'll go on and maybe
I'll
our manager can help us.
I guess I'll just say what I have to say, which is
Okay, I
that
cannot hear your voice, but you can hear mine, correct?
yes.
Fern? I see your finger, but I don't understand.
But
Rabbi,
one
I'm
of
going to
the
put a phone number in the chat, and you can keep the video on and just call in on your phone. I'll put the number in the chat.
Okay, speak on. Again, I saw it like maybe in the room.
Rabbi, your first visit with us is a memorable one.
Can you hear me? This is the internet connection is stable. Oh my God. I'll go straight next to just see what happens there. I have one more room to try to see if it works. My library.
In the meanwhile, Brett could tell us what he wanted to say.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is
How about
that,
now?
can you hear me, Rabbi?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but can you hear
Okay.
me?
Brad, is your mic open?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone else can hear me, but
But I don't
apparently
hear
you
you.
can't.
Oh my God, I'm so frustrated.
Well,
Now, is
can
this
you
a curse or
hear?
a blessing?
Can somebody else speak with her and see if they can hear her? Can hear
Can
you?
everybody hear Brad?
I can hear her, Brad. She can't
Yes.
hear us.
Yeah, we can hear Brad.
Can you hear me? Rabbi, can you hear me? I
I
don't
don't
think so.
have the audio.
We are all
Mine
live
is
with each other.
open.
Maybe
We
you have to
all
turn-
hear each other. We
We
just
can all
don't.
hear each other. Thank you,
Yes.
Marina.
turn up your volume.
I don't know what to do at this point. You know, I'm going to disconnect myself and hook back in with you. Maybe that would help. I'm leaving the meeting.
Go ahead, Brad.
Okay, well, after that buildup, I'm going to disappoint you because what I'm saying is not very smart. But you know what strikes me in this passage, and Fern, as a lawyer, I hope you can respond, is that we're told to see and to hear. So we know how unreliable our senses are. Am I not correct? As a lawyer, aren't we told that you know that's the worst kind of evidence is things that we see or hear? So
No, not really. I mean, we're told that things that we hear secondhand hearsay, which is really basically secondhand information, is not reliable. But we
but
are
what we see, though, I mean,
But what we see is considered, the most relevant thing. That which you experience personally in one way or another is considered more significant. I don't know that that connects.
but
Let
it
me,
is.
let,
But
Brad, let me offer another way to look at that, which is, remember when we received Torah at Sinai, and what we're told is we will do and we will hear.
mm,
So it's the doing that's primary, and then we learn how to hear what we're supposed to do.
What I learned a little bit of is how the Hebrew writing, and syntax worked back then, is that they would use concrete words like hear and see, or they would say the arm of God, but it all was used as a metaphor. So it means heed or obey or perceive, or in the hand of God would be like the influence of God. So, and then to say first see and then hear, maybe that was just the poet writing this, making the poetry better by using these contrasting words, but it is really, I don't know necessarily that, I mean, it has a level of meaning about see and hear, but I'm not sure that's really the point very much. I think that it means perceive. JPS says obey, and
but philosophically, our senses have always been questioned by philosophers. I mean, think about Descartes. I mean, Descartes rejects his senses and concludes that the only thing he knows is that he's a thinking person, but he can't rely upon his senses. So here, the appeal is to our senses. And so, I mean, that's really, it's kind of troubling because our senses have proven to be so fallible.
So is our thinking.
Yeah.
yeah,
But we
that's
know
right.
that we're thinking, and we know that we're fallible.
But they're just saying seeing is believing. I don't know if that comes from the Bible.
Right. I think that the reference perhaps may be that all of us hearing, seeing, experience it internally, oneself. Maybe I mean, we're comparing it, seeing and hearing versus thinking. And I'm not sure that it's not meant to say, I don't think necessarily seeing and hearing are meant to be opposing. I think they may be meant to be including just everything in all ways. I don't know.
Then how do you account for deviant behaviors?
In what way, Rebecca?
Well, what allows a person to deviate from what are standard morals and then believe that they're on the righteous path?
You think that what we're reading would lead to that?
No, I'm just saying, how is it that there are behaviors that become acceptable when we know that they're morally not?
We're fallible. Everything about us.
I think we are talking about individual blessings and curses, what happens to us personally. But if we look wider, blessings and curses happen to the world, to a country, to a region. And how can we explain that with an observance or not observance of mitzvot, when a lot of them are out of our reach, mostly.
So what we're studying today is, I set before you, which is the Jews, the Israelites who are crossing into the promised land. And I think now we're starting to talk about the wider world. So what we're studying is about our hearing and seeing and doing and choosing life, choosing to observe Torah. And I don't know that we include the wider world in that.
I feel like we may be missing something. We're kind of like talking about a very lofty interpretation of all this, but I believe this was written as a kind of revised version of the story, and it had a lot to do with talking about why the temple was destroyed and talking about how important it was not necessarily to follow the good, but to destroy the idols and to get rid of all the people who were not full-blooded Jews, and to only do the sacrifices through the Levite priests in Jerusalem, and not in the north, where they also had places for sacrifice, and to not have idols in the house. All those things which are almost like more political, and had to do with the politics of the people that wrote this, who were the priests. Literally, that may be what a lot of this is all about. Although you can certainly use it as a launching point for talking about, good and evil and doing what's right and so on. When they talked about the king who did what was right, he really meant they did what God wanted him to do in terms of ritual.
Howard, it also affirms free choice. You have a choice. You can choose. That's what this is saying, I think. And I agree with you on the other part, but I think it's really saying you have a choice. And
This clearly is very strongly based on the idea of free choice. Sure, yes. God doesn't just say, "Okay, I'm going to make you do this." It says, I give you a singular person. It's up to you. Please choose what I want you to choose, but I'm not going to make you do it.
In other places in the Torah, it says, "Choose life." So I think that's the parallel.
Right, which we're talking more about. We tend to jump to that because that's much more relevant to today.
Thank you, everyone. I have to leave a little early today. I'm going on a trip to the Long Beach canals. Did you know they had canals in Long Beach like they do?
I do. They're lovely. Have a great time.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good time.
Perhaps we can close up today. It was nice to see everybody, and it's nice discussions always.
Does anyone need to say Kaddish today?
No, thank you. Have a good week, everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Take care, everybody.
Hey, Brad, can you stay on for a moment?
Sure.
Have you been in touch with Effie at all?
I haven't. Not recently. I know that he had water on the brain.
I know that too.
But I gather things have deteriorated. I heard that got a bit of an update from Cindy yesterday. So what do you know, Herman?
Nothing. And that's what's bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
The last I heard, Dean said everything was going well.
No, but I think things have turned south.
Thank you for helping. Can you hear me? Can they hear me now?
Rabbi?
I have the rabbi on my phone. Can you hear her?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear her voice. I don't see her picture, but I can hear her voice.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on it. She's on phone.
Yeah.
My phone.
So I just wanted to say how frustrated I feel. And really, I prepared so much for you. And I feel frustrated.